Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Well, folks, the Democrat white blood cells have officially been deployed. It really didn't take so long now, did it? Already, we got top Democrats calling out David Hogg, and some of them even outright saying that he needs to be removed from his position as co-chair of the DNC. You can feel the absolute panic entering the room. The DNC machine seems to be treating David Hogg like a damn virus, and I guess the immune system is officially kicked in. And what makes it extra funny is that they're now being devoured by a monster that they created. I mean, they were the ones pushing characters like David Hogg as the heroes of the next generation. But now as David Hogg is threatening the thing that Democrats value the most, absolute control, well now little David Hogg has gotta go. I guess let the infighting begin. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on as total chaos takes over at the DNC headquarters. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so just like I said, top Democrats are already throwing punches. Hakeem Jeffries just went public and basically disavowed David Hogg and his entire strategy. Yeah, not exactly an endorsement from the current top Democrat.
David Hogg, who I know you know, a vice chair of the Democratic National Committee, and he is pursuing this effort to unseat some Democrats in safe seats through primary challenges. He's talked about a culture of seniority politics that is not working for the party. He said, quote, "We need a better Democratic Party and need to get rid of the Democrats in safe seats who do not understand what is at stake now, who are asleep at the wheel, not meeting the moment, and are a liability now into the future of our party." What's your response to this idea of targeting some of your Democratic incumbents?
Well, I look forward to standing behind every single Democratic incumbent, from the most progressive to the most centrist and all points in between. They're working hard in their communities, rising to the occasion. This past week, we had Medicaid Matters Day of Action, a Safe Social Security Day of Action, and we have to continue to do all of the things. Rallies, town hall meetings in Democratic districts, town hall meetings in Republican districts, days of action, telephone town hall meetings, site visits, press conferences. We are in a more is more environment, and more is going to continue to be required of all of us. The House is the institution that is built to be the closest to the American people. That's why we have elections every 2 years. Primaries are a fact of life. But here's the thing. I'm going to really focus on trying to defeat Republican incumbents so we can take back control of the House of Representatives and begin the process of ending this national nightmare that's being visited upon us by far-right extremism.
But of course, all of this seems to be falling on deaf ears with David Hogg, as he's now doubling down despite the calls to remove him and all the criticism that he's facing. He just went on Jen Psaki's show on MSNBC and said this.
This is not specifically when it comes to the candidates that we are targeting. It's not just, oh, if you're over a certain age, you should not be doing this. Unfortunately, there are people of all ages who are failing to meet this moment in different ways right now. It's not out with the old and in with the new. It is out with the ineffective and in with the effective.
James Carville said this was a crazy idea or a bad idea. Why take the bait and attack him back?
I think the fact of the matter is we say over and over again, we just need to listen to the experts over and over and over. And of course, experience matters, but experience is only as useful as it's actually working. We had $2 billion last election cycle, and we still lost. Part of the problem that we have here is a major brand problem at the Democratic Party. When people go into the ballot box, they're not just thinking, oh, you know, how am I thinking about my frontline member of Congress, for example? That's obviously important, and we need to support those members, and we plan to support some of them, obviously. What they're thinking about, though, is what do I think about the Democratic Party? And that is the product not just of one member of Congress, but all of our Democratic members of Congress and what they're doing and how they're fighting back. And the fact of the matter is, right now, we are failing to meet that moment around the country. And we're seeing it in our town halls. We're seeing it in our emails where people are saying we're not going to give money until there's major changes in the Democratic Party. And I want to make sure that that is used productively in safer seats to build the strongest party that we can. And other vice chairs have been involved in primaries before.
Yeah, it's something, though, that has angered traditional DNC members.
Some of them.
Some of them. I don't want to overstate. But how do you think, I mean, are you ready to put that at risk? I mean, if they said you can't do this, are you going to still...
This is a break the glass moment.
So meaning if they tell you you can't do this, you're going to leave your vice chair job?
Ultimately, if they decide to remove me, I have no control over that. I'm going to do everything I got elected to this position to fight to win back our young people and make sure that across the board with every single with every single demographic pretty much except the elderly and the highly educated, we lost margins this past election cycle. This is a major crisis for our party right now, and it needs to be met with the ferocity it deserves so that we're able to win back those young people, win back the margins that we lost with a lot of those demographics. And that's not going to happen with the traditional tactics of just standing by and acting like, oh, you know, let's just play our turn and let's just hope if we put $200 million behind these frontline candidates that we're just all of a sudden going to get winning again. We need bold tactics in this moment. Our base knows it. And I will tell you, although there are people in this town that this is upset, that are benefiting from the status quo, they want to do two things at the same time. They want to keep the same people in the positions of power that they're in right now, and they want to win, but we cannot do that.
He's essentially declaring all-out war against the Democrat machine. He's basically calling for primaries against sitting Democrats and demanding a new era of Democrat politics. He's basically walking in and saying, I am the captain now, and plans on reforming the entire party in his image. And you know, it'd be one thing if it was just a random kid who was giving his opinion on social media. They could just move on and pretend like that never actually happened. But unfortunately for them, David Hogg's now a co-chair of the DNC. And not just that, it's not just him, he's essentially representing the will of the Democrats' most loyal voter base. And in that sense, you know, what David Hogg is saying is technically right. You know, the Democrat Party does in fact hate democracy, as ironic as that is. They pretend to be the party of the people. They're always going on and on about the will of the people and democracy this and democracy that. But the party is totally rigged. They're constantly rigging their primaries. They pick and choose who gets to be in the club. They push away the political outsiders and grassroots challengers. They shut down actual debates, or they shut off Andrew Yang's microphone. So again, you know, the issues that David Hogg is highlighting, he's not exactly wrong about. The Democrat establishment isn't a fan of elections or democracy. No, they run coronations. Look at 2016, look at 2020. The grassroots essentially doesn't get a say. It's a top-down dictatorship within the party. A far cry from what we see on the right with Republicans. I mean, for all the media whining and talks about fascism and authoritarianism, at least the Republicans actually let their base decide. That's why the GOP has shifted so much into this new populist movement. But the Democrats, they're still playing a puppet show with donors and party elites essentially pulling the strings behind the scenes. So David Hogg is right in that assessment, but here's where he loses the plot, and here I think is where the disconnect and the panic ensues. Yes, the Democrat establishment is corrupt, but what David Hogg wants to replace it with is even worse. He's not looking to bring in good ideas or fix anything, no, he's just trying to unleash the left-wing socialist Karen rage mob. He wants a new era of Karen politics, screaming, crying, moral theatrics. No more timid politics, he says. Okay, well, what's your actual plan? Because screaming in people's face about abortion and racism 24/7 isn't exactly a winning political platform. You're not going to win over all the young men that you've lost, which was kind of something he alluded to in the interview with Jen Psaki. We need to win back young voters. Well, the young voters that the Democrat Party has lost as young male voters, you're not exactly going to win them back by platforming more AOCs and Jasmine Crockett's or Maxwell Frost's, or I guess you could even say Kamala Harris's. Case in point, just look at Kamala Harris's favorability with young men. It's sitting at a negative 48 spread. That's what happens when your entire platform is condescension and emotional hysteria. Clearly, David Hogg doesn't get it. He wants to unleash the Democratic base, but the Democrat base is out-of-touch, sanctimonious politics. It appeals to almost nobody. People want solutions, not sanctimony. And so yes, he's right, the Democrats are gatekeeping, but isn't it obvious that the Democrat gatekeepers are blocking the young radical base because they know it would end in absolute disaster? That's why they're panicking and trying to get rid of him. And it's interesting because he's actually pulling the curtain back and exposing how fragile their entire coalition is. The Democrat establishment is holding on to power by a string, and the young radicals that, again, they've created, they're going for the jugular. And now the Democrat Party is caught in a civil war, I guess, of its own making. The Democrat Party is eating itself alive. It's a full-on civil war between the performative radicals, who represent the majority of the Democrat base, the actual party members who decide who to nominate and push forth, and of course the crumbling establishment that used to be able to bridge that gap. It's poetic justice is what it is, because the old guard created this monster, they built this culture, they embraced the outrage mob, the youth activism complex, people like David Hogg, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the social media grift machine, and now clearly it's gotten a little bit too powerful. They've created a Frankenstein that they can no longer control. And now it seems the body is sick and in constant internal turmoil. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.